Hi, I'm Jeff Richards, and welcome to Japan Today Spotlight. For consumers here in Japan, 2025 is ending the same way that it started, with sky-high prices for food, drinks, and everyday essentials. Almost every major poll shows cost of living as the top national issue. Japan was once known for its stable prices. Goods and services, they barely moved here for decades. That period is gone. This week in Japan Today Spotlight, we look at what's driving these hikes, how people are coping, what the government and the Bank of Japan are doing, and what 2026 might bring. A quick walk through any supermarket or convenience store makes it perfectly clear. Prices just keep climbing. Takaichi Data Bank reports 20,609 items increased in price this year. That's up 65% from 2024. Rice prices tell the story. A 5-kilogram bag, that's about 11 pounds, now averages around 4,000 yen. That's roughly double last year's price. Even bottled water is more expensive because the materials used for plastic bottles cost more. Families with children and pensioners are feeling this the most. 3 reasons costs are rising. Japan faces several overlapping pressures. A weak yen, of course, higher transportation costs, and climate change hitting crops. The yen remains around 155 yen to the dollar. Exporters benefit, but food importers are squeezed, raising costs across ingredients, drinks, and packaging. One example stands out. Cocoa prices jumped from under $2,000 a ton in 2022 to around $10,000 a ton today, pushing imported chocolate bar prices in Japan about 20% higher. Shipping and logistics costs also climbed. Sagawa Express and Yamato Transport, they raised their fees up to 7% due to driver shortages and higher fuel prices. Climate shocks continue to shape the landscape, and the extreme heat of 2024 damaged crops and set up 2025 for shortages. Record heat and heavy rain wrecked cabbage harvests, doubling prices in the cabbage shock. Aomori apple orchards suffered record snowfall. Even your favorite Mikan oranges rose about 20% because of heat stress and insect infestations. How shoppers are adjusting to this. Companies and consumers are adapting in familiar ways. Smaller package sizes, shrinkflation. Restaurants are using cheaper ingredients or serving smaller portions, and households are eating out less and cooking at home more. Supermarkets and department stores fill up before closing because shoppers will hunt for last-minute discounts. Some even follow the staff, waiting for the markdown stickers. Convenience stores remain pricey, yet they continue to thrive because of tourists. Japan's 7 major chains hit a record 11.8 trillion yen. That's about $77 billion in sales in 2024, and they're on track to exceed that in 2025. Why wages still lag? Prices are rising faster than pay. Consumer prices outpaced wage growth by 3.2% this year. Large manufacturers, helped by the weak yen, managed wage increases, but the small and medium-sized firms that employ about 70% of Japan's workforce struggled to match them. Labor union Rengo plans to demand at least a 5% wage hike next spring and a minimum hourly wage of 1,300 yen. That's about $8.50. Most major companies are going to announce their decisions on March 12th. Prime Minister Takaichi has pledged to address the cost of living crunch but she faces steep challenges. The cabinet approved an 18.3 trillion yen, that's about $117 billion supplementary budget to support households and spur economic growth. Higher than expected income tax revenue, 2.9 trillion yen, $19 billion above estimates, will help fund that. The package includes subsidies for electricity and gas, about 20,000 yen cash handouts per child, and rice vouchers or coupons worth 3,000 yen per resident. In November, the government increased gasoline subsidies for refiners to 20 yen, 13 cents per liter, before the gasoline tax is abolished at year's end. The Bank of Japan raised its benchmark interest rate from 0.5% to 0.75%, the highest level in 30 years. This to counter persistent inflation. Takaichi's spending plans pushed long-term rates higher, which added pressure for tightening. Higher borrowing costs can slow consumption and investment, ease corporate price hikes, and help steady inflation. The move may also prevent further yen weakness against the US dollar. So what could 2026 look like? Economists expect modest recovery next year thanks to those wage increases, if those ever even happen at most medium to small sized businesses, and government spending and steadier trade conditions. Strong corporate earnings and global semiconductor demand could support export growth. However, China remains a major risk. Takaichi's remarks on Taiwan have strained relations. China is Japan's second largest export market, buying about $125 billion in goods last year. Losing access to that revenue would be very tough to replace. Two long-term issues still loom. There's an aging population straining healthcare and social services, and one of the world's highest public debt levels. Both limit how Japan can spend to stimulate growth. Consumers may face continued pressure in 2026. Will this squeeze get worse? Rising prices tied directly to deeper forces such as demographics, climate stress, and slow wage growth. If another shock hits before households recover, what gives first? The spending, wages, or political patience? Why don't you let us know in the comments what you think? Thanks for watching Japan Today Spotlight, and from the Japan Today newsroom here in Tokyo, I'm Jeff Richards. See me next time.